Hey Splinterheads, welcome back. Bronze Dragon here, giving you another update, kind of an extension of my last Splinterlands video. First of all, I do want to say thanks for dropping by. I do appreciate your time. I know it's a very tenuous time with the recent game announcements. It's not so much the announcement because we all knew that the staking was going to happen because it was in the white paper. It's just the numbers. But with that said, what I really want to say is thanks for contributing. The video I put out had a lot of comments on it, some for, some against. Everybody's opinion's welcome as long as you back it up with how you feel and why you feel that way. So anyway, it's been a very tenuous week, and I want this video to be kind of upbeat. Frankly, I want to take a step back and say I've been very stressed out this week. My personality dictates that whenever I'm dealing with large amounts of money, and I know the people on the top of the game who have a lot more SPS than what I do consider what I've invested not much. Okay, I know this. But to me, putting several $1,000s into a game is a large investment. So with that said, my personality dictates that when I'm dealing with large amounts of money and the future of that, whether it's like considering a failed investment or a successful investment, it leaves me stressed out. And so after several days of considering all the details around the changes in the game, I decided to make this video. So I do want it to be kind of forward-looking and upbeat. And I don't want this to be a salty video. Right up front, I will start off by saying that I think the two major takeaways I think there was a lot of friction between, I think, the people who represent maybe the top 10 or 15% of the game, the top SPS holders, the top card holders, people who've been around and put a lot of money into the game. They feel one way. And then the people that are coming into the game, or perhaps me, who have been in the game for quite a while and have invested what the top 10% would consider a mediocre amount, just don't consider it enough. So with that said, I think I'm right in the middle between the new people and the people that represent like the top 10 or 15%. I was really surprised and maybe dismayed by the feedback we were getting from those people. Obviously, it's human nature. If you invest a lot of money into something, then you want to see what will represent more value for that investment, right? So this change represents value for the people that have invested a lot of money into SPS. And I'll fall back, yes, we did know because it was in the white paper. However, I will point out that there were never any numbers around it until now. And I will also point out that a couple months ago in one of the meetings, it was pointed out by somebody had asked a question and kind of threw some numbers out there. It was like 50 or 75,000, something like that. Maybe it wasn't more than, I don't think, 50,000 they had thrown out there for perhaps diamond or gold one. And it was said by Matt that no, it's not going to be that high. And I remember thinking, oh, wow, maybe I've got a chance. Because at the time I was nearing about 8,000 and I was playing in gold one. And I'm like, yeah, I might be kind of near that. Maybe it might be around 10,000 or something I'll need to throw in a little bit extra. But I think my main surprise came in not at the point that this actual change is happening. It's just the numbers involved. So with that said, let's get on into the video. The point of this video is me examining, and I think by extrapolation, a lot of other people are examining at this point in time what they're going to be doing within Splinterlands, okay, and how to move forward after this change. or even what you do up to the change, because it might be a little bit. Well, let's also say there's two major changes inbound, right, that we have to consider. The first major change, and I don't know it relative to when they're going to happen, how much sooner the changeover, as far as getting rid of bots out of modern, when that's exactly going to happen. But that's the first major change, right? And that directly impacts me because I use the Archmage bot service. Okay, so the first major factor I have to consider is, do I keep using Archmage and just transition into Wild and let the bot do what it's going to do, or perhaps buy cards that would strengthen my Wild play and let it go that way, which with the recent changes and the need to increase my SPS stake, that's out the window, because I've got to, as a card player, I've come into the game and I've really liked buying, trading, selling cards. I haven't done a whole lot of selling. I haven't made any money in Splinterlands, just be right honest with you. It has not been a moneymaker for me. It's been spin, spin, spin. But with that said, I've been in that position before with Magic the Gathering, things like that. It was a lot harder to sell off my Magic the Gathering cards, which in hindsight I wish I hadn't have done. But with that said, my expenditure is going to have to, at least a decent percentage, go towards increasing my stake in SPS. Okay, so let's take a look at the chart again. I'm sure you're all familiar with this. Everybody's been showing this. This is the one that was shown on the town hall. And of course, it may change. I don't know. But this is the one they gave us in the town hall this week. And I had been playing in Diamond 3, Gold 1, kind of that area, right? And 88,000 for Diamond 3 is just right out for me, right? Just right out. There's no way. I did the numbers, and I would have to throw in another, I'd have to plop down $1,500 to get that, right? I'm not doing that. That's choice number one, right? Everybody's choice is different, depending upon, I think the first league, the first choice you have to make is, which league am I going to play in, which I'm going to shoot for. Obviously, you want to shoot for one that your cards are suitable for, and then, work your way up from there. So with me, I think silver and bronze are just going to be bombarded with people, because people are falling out of the top, diamond, gold, depending upon how much they have staked. And there's going to be just a huge amount of people compared to right now in bronze and silver. Okay. And furthermore, I think that in bronze and silver Wild, it's going to be an extrapolate. I mean, I can't even wrap my mind around the extrapolated numbers. Okay, there are better people out there to watch their videos as far as doing numbers and reading what's on the blockchain, how many people are playing. Tails is very good at that, right? So check out his videos. Always having some good points out there and some doing a lot of good math. But I guess my main point is Wild, bronze, and silver, in my opinion, are just going to skyrocket, okay? Because you're going to have a lot of the bot farms go there after they're kicked out of Modern by whenever they implement it. However they implement it, that's what they said. The vote went through. So if you're playing Wild, bronze, or silver, you're going to be in the same pool as a lot of bot farms, in my opinion. Okay, that's just a guess, but I think it's an educated guess, right? Now, with that said, we all know that you have a certain pool that everybody's drawn from. So, and this is just taking into account that you do have the proper amount of SPS staked for each level. Say, for instance, you want to play in Silver 2. This argument is, if you have 5,100 SPS staked, to get 100% of your R shares, you're still going to be getting 100% of R shares from a pool that's shared by a lot more players. And those lot more players are going to be a lot of bots. Just something to think about. Now, in modern, feasibly, if the bots move out of modern, then there's going to be a lot less. So, I don't know, in my estimation, the pool should be a lot better for actual human players. So, going back to my decision, do I play in wild, or do I just start physically playing in modern? Now, the second part to that is the part that I think that I've made the decision that I do want to at least be in gold 3, which would entail me, I'm about 12,000 SPS now, would entail about 10,000 SPS difference, right? Somewhere between here and there, I got to come up with 10,000 SPS. And I'm not going to plunk down the money for it, but I have been for 2 years continually rolling over my SPS, restaking it. I've never drawn any money out of this game. 2 years got me about 10,000 SPS. Okay, so it's going to take a while to get another 10,000 SPS, but I'm also drawing in coins from other games, such as Splinter Forge. If you've watched Gathering the Magic's series, he's very up on and putting out videos on Splinter Forge. Whereas you can take and you can play Splinter Forge with your Splinterlands cards, earn additional Forgium, convert that Forgium on the Hive engine, and in his recent video, he uses it for DEC to strengthen his deck in one of his accounts to buy cards, which is a great thing. Me, I'm currently taking that Forgium and converting into SPS. Now, the second part of that is Golem Overlord. Now, I am, if you've watched my Golem Overlord videos, you know that I'm taking out a small amount. Just I'm getting my coins confused. 1 part token per 8 hours and converting that to SPS. So all this will, and also GLX. Okay, everybody's got a different take on GLX. If you're new to the game, if you have SPS tokens staked, you are earning GLX, which you can roll over and stake in the GLX infrastructure, Genesis League Sports, or you can draw out. Myself, I've got a current, well, for the last several months since it's been coming out, what I do is I build up 100, and I either stake and then I rotate and sell off 100. And then with a selling off, up to this last week, I've been selling it for Hive and then using that for whatever I need between all the games, right? But now I'm going to start rolling that just into SPS. So my SPS should go up a little bit better than it has been, because frankly, chests and season chests and daily chests don't make very much at all. I got lucky this last season. I got 2 nice size chests of 250 each, but that's the first time I've had that in forever, 2 years, right? So it's kind of a one-off. Okay, so the first thing you have to decide is where you want to play. That dictates how much SPS you're going to need to stake to get 100% R shares. Now, as everyone's been quick to point out and try to correct me, I completely understand. But my overall point is, why would you want to play in a league and not at least earn better than, 50% or whatever the R shares are? So going back to my point of there being a lot of players more in wild, bronze, and silver, if I chose to stay with Archmage Bot and play in wild, then I would at least want to go into gold 3, because I want to get out of silver and bronze and at least get into that gold pool. really I'd love to be in the diamond pool, but that's just beyond my means now. Because first of all, I was playing okay. Archmage was playing my account okay in Diamond 3. And it does have some diamond level cards, but most of the cards were strong, fully gold level 1 cards. I think another thing we're going to you might run into, is when you get in Wild, you're not going to make it as high as you had in Modern if most of your cards are Modern cards. That's not saying there's anything wrong. I just think that there's some higher powered combos in Wild that you're going to run into. So anyway, I anticipate, with that said, I don't even think my deck could make it into Diamond 3 in Wild. But with that said, I still think it's a firm Gold 3 or Gold 2 play, but I'm going to limit to Gold 3 until I have the SPS accrued and staked to make full R shares. And then I will move it up. Because as it is, I'll be playing in Gold 3, and I will probably only be getting 50% of the R shares. And that's far fewer chests than I'm used to. But as a mental health check, sorry, I bumped my mic. As a mental health check, I just had to start making a decision about not worrying about it. Because while I love this game and I love playing the game and I love collecting cards and everything, the feedback I've gotten from the top 10 or 15% this week has just been purely acidic. I mean, it's been like playground yard bully type. If you don't like it, get out. If that's your opinion and you don't see any space in the middle for people to actually have opinions on a game that they've spent thousands of dollars on, even if it's not the $50,000 you put into the game, I don't know what to say. Anyway, that's the first major really choice you have to make. And obviously there's a spectrum here, okay? So at first you can decide, well, am I going to take a bunch of money and put it in SPS right off the bat and just play the game as the changes are incurred and spend several $1,000s in SPS? That's like one side of the spectrum, right? The other side of the spectrum is, I quit. I'm selling all my cards and I'm leaving the game. So there's got to be a happy median in the middle, right? So another wrench in the cogs, or not a wrench, another variable, it's a better way to say it, in the cogs that is coming in the same time frame is land. It's land 1.5, right? So I think a lot of us have been looking forward to land. I've been looking forward to land for 2 years, right? So really, and that represents a whole nother different set of expenditures, okay? So on the card playing side, you can decide, well, I'm going to continue to buy cards, increase the strength of my deck, buy packs, and now stake SPS in huge amounts of SPS. Or do I want to kind of curtail that and put my funds into land and the cards that are needed for the land, the staking of the SPS, or the staking of the DEC that's needed for land, and all the variables around that as that whole system evolves. I can't speak for anybody else, but I know myself, I don't have the money for all this. And that's besides the whole, we've got Soul Keep coming up and several other games, involved. I just don't have enough money for it all, right? So I have to decide where to put stuff. So from a mental health check, I decided this week that I'm just not going to worry about it. It is what it is. It was announced. It was announced in the white paper a long time ago. The facts and figures were announced this week, and they were very surprising and stressful for me. But the change is going to happen. It doesn't matter. I mean, things may change. They always, any game that's kind of in a beta status, any feature that's in a beta status could always change. But I don't need to be worrying about it. Okay, I don't need to be stressed out about it. Okay, so what I've decided is that, and I still haven't made the decision whether I'm going to curtail my Archmage use and just play myself in Modern to take advantage of the pools that are not infected with massive bot farms, or do I just go to Gold 3 in Wild and let the Archmage bot do what it's been pretty good at up to this point, right? Don't know. I do know that I still enjoy playing my guild brawls, and I would encourage you, if you're not in a guild, try to get in a guild. It adds a whole other layer to your card play. Not great at it. It's interesting because some weeks I'll go in and due to our guild level, I usually play silver, sometimes gold. Some weeks I'll do better in gold than I will in silver, because it seems like I run into a lot of players in silver that just have these very much higher level decks than I do. Very fancy cards compared to what I do. The majority, I do have some prior versions of cards like betas and stuff, but by and large, the majority of my cards are current generation Chaos Legion. So, and with that said, I do need to play more because I've been relying upon Archmage because, they always said that bots will always be in the game. They stuck by it. Aggie always said that there will always be bots in the game until this recent vote. So up to the point where, and I've said this before, up to the point where I started using Archmage, I was very anti-bot. But due to the team being very pro-bot, I was like, well, you can't beat them, join them. So I did. With the specific intention that my thoughts were, well, I've already put thousands of dollars in this game. Why shouldn't I just keep maximizing my rewards? I guess that's the best viewpoint. Okay. So with that said, I think I fall right in the middle. After I make the decision on playing, I definitely do want to get further into the land game, and that might become the primary mode of what I do in Splinterlands, because I may go ahead and just lay off and just let Archmage do its thing, and whatever it earns. It's going to be far less than what we're used to, and just increasingly add to the SPS as I have been for 2 years. It might take me another year to get up to 20,000. Who knows? But I'm not going to plop down $1,000 worth of SPS. I know that's what's wanted from me, but I'm not doing it. Okay. So it's been a lot of kind of rambling talk. I do hope that this may help you in your situation. And I would encourage people that whether you're on the top end or the bottom end, be nice to each other. A game is much better off when everybody can get along and see each other's viewpoints. That's all I'm saying. This is Bronze Dragon. Whether you agree with me or whether you don't, please consider subscribing, because you don't gain wisdom, you don't gain different insights unless you take someone else's opinion to heart and say, yeah, that's his opinion. I can see why he has that opinion. And we can all learn from each other. So with that said, please consider liking and subscribing. I do appreciate your time, and I hope everyone on your side is happy and healthy. And I will see you on the flip side.